I was willing to give up whatever might be the tracking of Kamala Harris's particular fondness for nacho cheese Doritos for the sake of getting a big bag of Doritos as I watched the Oscars.
It's hard to believe she was once the AI czar of the United States of America. But given those comments, one can't help but wonder if Harris could even win California's gubernatorial election, let alone the presidential election in 2028, should she decide to run. Now, here with his thoughts is our executive producer, Cameron Malstrom. Cameron, what do you make of that video?
Wow, I'm just a little bit speechless like that. Just to have the person that was almost president talking about a bag of Doritos like that, it's actually kind of scary.
We got so close to having her in office.
Oh my God, yeah. It gave me chills a little bit watching that because, you know, a millimeter the other direction. In Butler, and we're in a very different spot right now. So, yeah, it's just amazing to me how Democrats are probably going to put up somebody like Kamala Harris because they have to run somebody. And if it's not Kamala, who else will it be? And the only person that I could think of if it's not Kamala would be Gavin Newsom. And that's why I wanted to bring that up with you because we pretty much agree on mostly everything. But the one thing we disagreed on the other day is you were telling me that you think at this point, Democrats, their best option, their best hope is to put up Kamala Harris. And that just struck me as amazing because I just couldn't believe you could feel that way. I respectfully disagree, but I just think that Gavin Newsom is the only person that Democrats could put up right now. And don't get me wrong, I can't stand the guy. I can't stand anything he stands for. He's full of it. But it was just amazing to me that people are going to be putting these two candidates up, most likely, unless, I mean, who else is going to come up for the Democratic Party, right?
Well, I mean, absolutely. I completely agree. However, the reason, because Kamala, she flamed out, certainly lost by nearly 100 votes in the Electoral College, lost every critical swing state, was the first candidate in maybe almost 100 years to not flip one single county in that election. Yeah. So I get all of that, but she still made it to that level. And that there's something to be said for that. She climbed the ladder. I mean, sure, she was basically installed as the party for the DNC. However, she still was able to climb that ladder. She was able to raise a lot of money from donors. She was able to rally people like Oprah behind her, and she was actually able to compete at the highest levels of U.S. politics. So I think she's a train wreck personally, but there are indicators she has and things she has that Gavin Newsom doesn't. We don't know. Gavin Newsom's an unknown quantity. We don't know how he would fare in a presidential primary, let alone a presidential election. But we know Kamala Harris can at least make it that far. And I think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think Gavin Newsom is a little bit of a known quantity. We saw what he did to the state of California during COVID. We saw the millions of lives that he ruined. So he's not as much of an unknown as I think that you might think he is. I think America overall is very familiar with what Gavin Newsom has done. And I think Kamala was just put in and installed just like you said. And Democrats are going to support her because Biden gave the endorsement. And so what else are we going to do at this point?
Sure.
We have no time left. We have to support her. So, of course, 40-some% of the country is going to vote blue no matter what. Probably, hopefully that'll change someday, but that's basically how it is right now. But getting back to Gavin Newsom, I just watched his interview the other day, or the interview he was doing with Charlie Kirk. And on his new podcast, which is just such a joke to me that he's doing this, and it's so obvious what he's trying to do.
Well, it's obviously a political play for 28.
Yeah, of course. No matter what he says, that's obviously what he's doing, even though he should be governing the state instead of doing stuff like this. But I put together a little montage of some of the clips that some of his best moments, so to speak, when to me it just makes it so obvious that he is trying to scooch into the middle when he's anything but being a centrist. And he's just ripping the Democratic brand. And I just thought this was so interesting. So let's go ahead and roll that tape. I want to get your reaction.
Well, you go to Caltech to study computer engineering and applied AI.
Next level.
You're crushing it, right? You go to Cal to go study North African lesbian poetry.
Yeah. Is that an actual degree there?
You tell me, Governor.
I don't know. I mean, we funded, but I'm not sure that's one of the courses.
The fact you don't know?
Well, I don't know every single damn course.
I know. It should be like, no way! You right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate.
But would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that. It is an issue of fairness. So it's deeply unfair.
The most effective ad of this election cycle, the most effective ad, what it is.
Yeah, and devastating. Trump's for you. She's for they, them.
And
devastating.
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 But let's talk
and she didn't even react to it, which was even more
And let's talk about why it was devastating. Number one, it was the trans issue that was just monopolizing.
And this was even more challenging because there's issues of people that are incarcerated
and illegal
and illegal incarcerated individuals getting taxpayer funded.
Yes, and
gender reassignment surgeries. That is a 90-10, not an 80-20.
Right, and then
the Latinx stuff. By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree.
Where did that even
No
go?
more Latinx, everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about? The Democratic Party brand has just been crushed.
I mean, have you ever seen the guy so reasonable? He's so in the middle. He's just trying to talk all these common sense things for everybody to get a hold of.
Well,
like, how much has his tune changed?
Well, that proves my point. Look, I mean, Kamala Harris, say what you want about her. At least people genuinely believe that she believes the things she's saying. Whereas Newsom, he's a clear politician. He's trying to play both sides. He wants to have his cake and eat it too. Yeah. He's isolated his base. He's trying to appeal to independents, but he's never going to be good enough because we've seen what he's done to California. So I think Newsom, I just don't see a path to victory for him. I think it's very narrow for Kamala Harris. I'm not betting on that in the future. I'm just saying I see a more clear path for her than I do for the guy who just watched the whole city of LA basically burn to the ground and he had nothing to say about it. So I just pragmatically, I don't see a path to victory for Newsom. But final thoughts for you, Cameron. I mean, where am I wrong?
I just think that as much as I don't want to believe this and I don't want this to be the case, a big portion of the American public will just take what's given to them, and they see a person like Gavin Newsom put up in front of them with his slick back hair and his perfect white teeth and his smile and all his emphatic hand gestures, and he looks camera ready. You know, he's central casting for what a politician should look. And most people don't have the time to research any of these issues. They see a guy like him championing these causes that they support, even though he's obviously walking back on them now. They see that and they're going to say, okay, that's my guy. He looks good. He's so much better than Trump and blah, blah, blah. And he's just going to be a shoo-in for them. So I don't know. I could be wrong. It just amazed me that you thought Kamala Harris might be the better option. So we're actually going to put a poll up on our on our X account and our True Social account, and we're going to ask you guys what you guys think. Am I wrong? Is Riley wrong? We just want to see what the viewers think. And
or is there somebody else?
Option.
Maybe there's another option out there.
Exactly.
I don't know. Maybe there's a big support for Tim Walz all of a sudden. I don't know. I doubt it, but I am curious. So we are going to put that poll up, and we'll talk about the results tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Riley.